I always thought the Mega Drive or Genesis controller was fully compatible with the Master System, until one day this happened. Stick with me and we'll find out what in the world just happened here. Mônica no Castelo do Dragão is a Brazilian exclusive game released for the Master System in 1991. It's a reskinned version of Wonder Boy in Monsterland, replacing Tom Tom with a very popular Brazilian comics character, Mônica. It is the first game in the Turma da Mônica series released by Tectoy, being followed by Turma da Mônica em O Resgate, which is a reskinned version of Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap for the Master System, and Mônica na Terra dos Monstros, which is a reskinned version of Wonder Boy in Monster World for the Mega Drive. I bought and played those games in reverse order, as it took me some time to find a copy of Mônica no Castelo do Dragão in a reasonable price, which only happened a couple of months ago. I was planning to play it using my 8-bit Dual Mega Drive wireless controller, as I usually do with my Master System games. But I faced this weird bug as I started the game. I thought maybe the battery on the controller was low, but the same happened with my wired Mega Drive controller. It only worked properly with my original 2-buttons Master System controller, so I decided to investigate what was going on, and here's what I discovered. The Mega Drive or Genesis controller is almost fully compatible with the Master System. Many people seem to prefer it to the original Master System controller, as it is more comfortable to hold and play. But there are 9 games, or 10 depending if you count Mônica's game as a separate game from Wonder Boy in Monsterland, that unfortunately won't work with it. Alien Syndrome, Bomber Raid, Great Volleyball, Montezuma's Revenge, Penguin Land, Shanghai, Tennis Ace, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, and Wonder Boy in Monsterland, and Mônica no Castelo do Dragão by extension. To understand why those games don't work with the Mega Drive controller, we'll have to understand how the controllers work, and then we'll see the possible solutions for this problem. The Master System controller is a very simple one, with one directional pad and 2 action buttons. It is connected to the console via the E9 port. As the name implies, it has 9 pins on it. 1 for the power supply, 1 for the ground, 1 for each of the 4 directions, and 1 for each of its 2 buttons. The remaining pin is used by the light phaser's light sensor. The trigger uses the button 1 pin. The Mega Drive controller also uses a DE9 connector, but it has 2 extra buttons. So, to keep track of each button individually, 10 pins would be needed. VCC, ground, 4 directions and 4 buttons. So, in order to use the 9-pin interface, the controller shares 1 pin for 2 buttons. A and B share pin 6, C and Start share pin 9. This is achieved by using a multiplexer chip, a chip that takes 2 inputs and provides one of them as an output based on the status of a line called select. So, A and B are connected to one pair of inputs of the multiplexer and the output is connected to pin 6, and C and Start are connected to another pair and the output goes to pin 9. The select status is set by the console through pin 7. If the select line is set to 0, A and Start are read by the console in pins 6 and 9 respectively. If the select line is set to 1, B and C are read by the console in those pins. When using the Mega Drive controller on the Master System, the select line is kept in the default status for the console, 1, as it is normally used only in light phaser games. That's why B works as button 1 and C works as button 2, while A and Start don't work at all. It would work perfectly with all games, if it weren't for the fact that the console was sold in more than one region and has a region detection system. Some games can tell if the console you're playing the game is a Japanese or Western Master System, and they alter the game text accordingly. The problem is that those games do that by sending a signal to pin 7 on the controller port, so it sets the select line on the controller to 0, making it use buttons A and Start instead. That wouldn't be a problem if the left and right pins were not also connected to the multiplexer. When the select line is 0, both left and right inputs are connected to the ground, and the Master System interprets it as both being pressed at the same time. The Mega Drive handles it differently. That's probably why Mônica is turning left and right like crazy when we use the Mega Drive controller to play the game. To work properly on the Master System, the select line on the Mega Drive controller must be set to 1. So, there are ways of fixing it via software and via hardware, The software solution involves hacking the ROMs so they don't mess with the select line on the controller. Obviously, that kind of fix isn't of much help if you don't have a flash card. The easiest hardware solution is to cut or desolder the wire connected to pin 7 on the controller. Of course, not everyone would be comfortable with modifying their controller. Besides, that solution would not be possible for someone using a wireless controller like mine. So, a less invasive solution is to make a simple adapter which connects every pin but pin 7 between the console and the controller. That would leave pin 7 disconnected on the controller and the select line would be at the default value, 1. That is exactly what I did with a couple of DA9 connectors and an 8-wire cable. And here I am, comfortably playing my copy of Mônica no Castelo do Dragão with my wireless controller. There is still one more possible hardware-based solution. Since this problem only occurs on Western consoles, you could set your console region to Japanese via hardware mods. Of course, that would make games like Mônica no Castelo do Dragão display Japanese text. But I mention it here just as another option. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. And if you're interested in more hardware fixes and mods, be sure to watch this video next.